Good evening, Skand.
Lalita ma'am?
Yes, sir. Sir, ma'am, she's here, sir. Miss Nazia is here.
Yes, ma'am. I made her co-host and she will be able to unmute herself. Welcome to
Hi.
webinar,
Hi,
ma'am.
good evening. Good afternoon, Nazia.
Can you unmute?
Yes. Good afternoon. Hello, Mr. Raman.
Very good afternoon.
Yeah. How are you? How is everyone here?
Yeah. Everyone is doing
Great.
good.
Great.
So
Wonderful.
let me introduce our Executive Director, Mr. Subramaniam, and
Hi.
also our Principal, Miss Lalita.
Hello.
Yeah, we conversed with each other.
Great.
Yeah.
You're all proactive leaders.
True, absolutely.
Miss Nazia, you have some PowerPoint to be shared or something like that?
Well, I thought so, but then I thought that let me go the most simple way. The reason behind is when I speak, I feel that people should remember me for what I have said, and that happens. Rather than my PowerPoint and presentations, they will be lost there.
All right. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes.
And all right, team. I think we are on live Facebook and Lalita ma'am.
Shall we start, sir?
In a minute, ma'am.
Yeah. You just signal me, sir. I'll do it. I'll
Yes.
start.
All right, ma'am.
I hope I'm clearly audible.
Yes. Very clear.
Yes.
You are
yes.
audible.
Perfect. Do let me know when do you want me to start.
Yes.
I'll be waiting for you. All right.
Yes. Sure.
Lalita ma'am, I think
Yes.
we can get started. Please start
Yes.
the proceedings, ma'am.
Sure. Let's start, sir. Good evening, everybody present here today, our respected chairman, our director, our resource person for today, Ms. Nazia Rashid, and all our dear staff members, our dear parents, and very, very dear students. Well, today our webinar is on positive mindset for overall efficiency. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, positive thinking evokes more energy, more initiative, and more happiness. And we have with us Ms. Nazia Rashid, who's going to give us or throw more light on this. Ms. Nazia is a business entrepreneur. She is a certified global communications expert, a motivational speaker. She's a Dell certified computer hardware expert, financial advisor, customer service manager, business consultant, and a business manager. At Doha in Qatar, with varied experience in different fields. Ms. Nazia is a graduate in BSc, and she's a certified communication, hardware, and hardware resolution expert. She's, of course, an Indian from Mumbai, but she's based in Qatar for over a decade with her husband, and she has a lovely 6-year-old daughter, her little princess. Miss Nazia also loves reading books, and her passion for learning is not limited to books. She yearns to learn from anyone and anything. She has worked in 7 companies so far before she became a business entrepreneur. And she is, of course, topped in all the 7 companies. She believes that self-motivation and perseverance can take a person to the peak of success. And she has been a recipient of various awards and certifications in her school and college for various cultural activities. And she has held science exhibitions on home remedies. And she also won a 2nd prize in that. We also have with us today our chairman, Mr. Ramanaidu, who is a person I can say is positivity personified. He's a person who sees positivity in a positive streak in everything. He's a motivational speaker himself. He works extensively on bringing the happiness quotient in all through healthy, good habits. We also have with us our director, Mr. Subramaniam. And if I can describe Mr. Subramaniam in 3 words, they are: he's positive, he's patient, and he's perseverant. Now, without much talk from my side, I would like to hand over to begin with to our chairman, Mr. Ramanaidu, and later our resource person for today, our energetic, beautiful resource person for today, Ms. Nazia Rashid. So over to you first, Naidu sir.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Good evening to all of you. Good evening, Nazia. Today, I would like to start the day's webinar with small Sufi tale to set the context of our speaker presentation. She is a great speaker. I know her. I had been interacting with her for a couple of sessions. See, there was once a farmer who owned a horse and a son. One day, his horse ran away. The neighbors of the farmer had come to his house and shared their concern that since your horse ran away, how will you survive? How will you cultivate your farm? And they were trying to sympathize and empathize with him. The farmer was very calm and humble. He shared with them that good thing, bad thing, who knows? Then he was just calm. After a couple of days, the horse came back with another horse. Then the neighbors again had come to the farmer. Now the neighbors were glad that you are lucky. Great. You got 2 horses now. You can cultivate your field with 2 horses. You can become rich very soon. That is your luckiness. Then the farmer said, good thing, bad thing, who knows? He did not react or respond to the concerns or sympathies or praises of his neighbors. The next day, the farmer's son fell off the new horse and broke his leg. The neighbors were concerned again, upset that his son handicapped. He can't help. Now the farmer might have to starve, and also the farmer's son may not get a girl to get married. He had to be supported by the father, old age father, as the son got incapacitated. Again, the farmer did not respond or react their sympathy or their concerns. He just said, good thing, bad thing, who knows? Let us wait. Soon, the news came out that a war broke out in a particular country, and all the young men were required to join the army. The villagers were sad because they knew that many young men may not return home. They again went to the farmer that you are so lucky your son not drafted for this army job because he had got broken leg. His neighbors were envious and shared their sadness about their children and gladness about the farmer's son. You get to keep your son at your home. We don't know fate of our children. The farmer replied again, good thing, bad thing, who knows? There is a beautiful wisdom in this story. Though this story is a Sufi tale, all of us might have gone this kind of stories in our life. Every incident or event, it has two angles. One is positive angle and negative angle. Most of us try to paint negative angle. Some of us may paint positive angle. Others would paint positive or negative and try to influence our mind with positivity or negativity. Hence, it is not the event which is giving us bad feelings or sad feelings. It is our perception, the people around us, the perceptions who are influencing the event and making us happy or unhappy, sad or feel sorrowful. So, with positive mindset, without painting the event itself is a bad, let us really take a step and reframe the situation as the event which happened since it has to happen, how best we can utilize the present moment to turn into positive space so that we can have happiness and also our journey can be far better. This tale shows that none of the event would cause the sad to the farmer. Only the people around him, the neighbors, felt the sad or concerned or glad. Right? Hence, all of us should learn how our mental chatter, all of us carry a mental chatter. It's whether it is a positive mental chatter or a negative mental chatter. It is up to us how we can decide the particular mental chatter in can move through. If you paint the particular incident as a negative, you start getting the feelings of negative feelings. You feel very low. You may feel frustrated and you agitated, and so that the surroundings and the people around will get a lot of toxics. The journey would be really sorrowful. Similarly, if you feel happy and even you can turn into positive side, then you start taking actions and steps in such a way that you learn from every difficult situation. You take enough precautionary steps to achieve or accomplish best what you can do it. So all of us should learn this mindset, how we can live in the present moment by looking at following the process is more important rather than looking at end result and feeling sorrowful or sad. I'd like to quote one more adage all of us know very clearly: half empty glass or half full glass. It's true that both are same, half empty or half full are same. Rather, how we paint meaning it is different. If you paint it as half empty, you may feel low, and you may feel that you are missing another half glass. If you paint it as half full, you feel confident that you have a full glass of water with very less quantity is not available for us. So positive mindset is very much important to have happiness, abundance, and joy in our life and the people around us. Our mental charter, what we carry along with us, is most important tool that you need to use your reframing technique. It is psychological technique. That technique would help you to think positively about the particular event, take you in the right direction. Maybe you might have got experience, a job you got a couple of years back, or event which happened with your child or with a neighbor. That may be a learning point for us to move ahead by taking positive things in our mindset. So with this introduction, I would like to hand over to today's lead speaker, Nazia. She would help us to understand how our day in day activities can be turned into with positive mindset so that our efficiency can grow up. We feel happy, we can accomplish and achieve our goals. Thank you, Nazia. Hand over to you.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome,
sir.
Raman.
Thank you very much. So before that, I would like to say that yes, equanimity of mind is very important for all of us to be balanced in life. Over to you, Miss Nazia, and we are really looking forward to your session.
Thank you so much, Raman and Lalita and Subramaniam, for giving me this opportunity. But before I could start, I would actually take half a minute. That would be mostly 30 seconds. And so that we can give gratitude to God that we all are safe and everyone close to us are safe. Because a lot many things apart from Corona as well are happening around the world. So I feel we should thank anything by holding some gratitude and thanking God for everything. Just 3 words. Thank you, God.
To be
All
great
right.
quiz, I request
Mhm.
our tech quiz ask a nice question to all of you. I request and encourage you to participate, which is right for you. There are 71 parents attempted the farmers' positive mindset is the one which really they liked it.
Mhm.
Great, Sibi. You are making the sessions so interactive and learning is complete.
Yes. Yeah. Ma'am, carry on, please.
Carry on, ma'am.
All right. So now, actually, I would often get a question, how old am I? Okay. So very interesting question because I never counted. But whenever I would be asked, I would say I stopped growing after 16. So as sweet as it sounds or unreal, but I'm not 16. But why do I say this is what matters. That's my mindset. So when I say that, I say it because that's the age when you are excited about just everything. You want to learn new things. You want to know a lot of things. You want to evaluate. You want to research. You're open for so many things. And that's the reason when you graduate from school to a new chapter in your life, that is college, you are so positive just about everything. You do not have preconceived notions. So this mindset is what attracts me a lot. And I feel I am still in that mindset. So I would learn a lot from you all today. I equally would like to share my learnings. And I would like to share how this positive mindset has helped me attain a lot of things in my life, as well as it helps me achieve a lot of things which is beyond my wildest dreams. So, talking about mindset, I want you all to actually try a very small experiment. Okay, so yes, I would make you all engage with me with everything. So, it's not going to be speaker talking and everyone listening. So, yes, so let's try a small experiment, everyone. All right. Now, imagine you have a big fat lemon in your hand, a big one. Okay, so can you see that in your hand? You just have to imagine you have a big fat lemon. Okay, it's a half lemon. Now imagine you are biting that lemon. So come on, students, we are biting that lemon. Okay, now we can feel there is a lot of juice flowing in our mouth. Okay, we can feel there is so much flesh in that lemon. I mean, it's so juicy, it's so bulky, and there's so much of juice pouring in. Oh, you're feeling it so sour. It is sour, isn't it? You can feel it, it's sour. All right. So now let's forget about that experiment. I have a question. Did you feel some saliva come in your mouth? I'm sure everyone must have,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Now, the question is that do you really have a lemon in your hand? Of course not. You just imagine the lemon. You just imagine that you're biting that lemon and you could feel the saliva. So this is what I wanted to explain what mind is. To understand mindset, we need to understand mind first. Okay. Now, our mind, it doesn't know what is truth or what is false. Whatever we say to ourselves, our mind perceives it as a reality. It doesn't know truth or false. It just knows what we tell it. So if we tell good things to our mind, okay, we become that good thing. If we say anything negative, that's what our mind perceives, and that's what it makes us give that kind of results. So now I want you all to understand how we can control mindset. Okay, so to understand that, I would like to uh, share a few stories about me, so it would be easy to understand how mindset can be controlled. And for that, I would like to say that Miss Lalita has been kind enough to talk very good about me while introducing me. So let me also tell you some stories, which is not that very good, but I have got a very good learning from it. It was a few years back when I was in my ninth standard. Okay, and that time I experienced pneumonia, and I was in my last stage pneumonia. Just a bit prior to my pneumonia, I had skipped one exam, that was maths and Marathi together, right? And it so happened that it was just because of Eid celebration. The next day I woke up late. And when I woke up late, lying in the bed, I thought, okay, my parents woke me up late. So children are so sweet, no? They definitely give responsibilities to others. So I felt that, okay, maybe next exam I can match it up. Because I was very good as a student, except for maths, I was a bit weak in it. Now I will say not weak, I will say I'm still learning. I need to prosper in maths as well. So the next exam, when it appeared, I couldn't give because of pneumonia. Now, after I was discharged, the final exams were appearing. Now, because it was so uncertain that I realized that even if I have to pass my ninth standard to go into the 10th, I need to have at least have a minimum of marks. Like, for example, in maths, I needed to have minimum of 72, and in Marathi equally I needed to have some 72 to clear. So I realized that those were the two subjects that were very challenging. At the same time, the doctor who discharged me said that she is very weak, so she needs to take extreme rest. Even if she doesn't study, no problem. Rest is more important for her. So I went back home and I would take up a book, and my parents would say, "You take rest. You're very weak." So I instead, I mean, of actually still studying, I thought to myself, yes, mindset here. So please note the point. I thought, yes, I'm weak, so I should take rest. And I felt like, okay, my parents are as well as okay with this, that I'm not studying. And I thought maybe school may have some kind of leniency towards me, towards my, passing me for or promoting me towards the 10. But at the same time, something just pinched me in, and I don't know, that was conscience, because I was a student who was very dedicated and passionate to learning. So I remember one day when I met my tutor, who was my tuition teacher, and I really hold a lot of gratitude for her. She told me a small story, And she said, today you haven't come to learn, right? So just be relaxed and I'll tell you one small nice story, and then you can go home. But before that, I wanted to ask, how much do you need to clear maths? So I said 72. And Marathi, I said equally the same number. So then I looked at the tutor, expecting some sympathy. And I said that, can you help me with this? Because I doubt I may clear, because maths, if I had ever scored the highest, that would have been 64. And that was some kind of a trademark. I couldn't cross 64 no matter how hard I had tried. So, and in Marathi, the highest I had scored was 72. So I was a bit comfortable over Marathi, but I wasn't sure about math. So the teacher said, leave that aside. That's not a big problem. Let me tell you this story. And she told me that there was this girl who, wandered around a lot of villages because she was very thirsty and she wanted fresh water to drink. So she finds one well nearby and she tries to pull water from the well. So because she's small and she doesn't have enough strength, she keeps on pulling the water up. She pulls the rope, but end of the day, she leaves the rope because it's too heavy for her to pull it all over and pull the bucket towards herself. So few times she tries because she's very thirsty and now she wants water. So finally, when she tries, the bucket comes very close. Now the bucket is right in front of her. So all what she needs to do is pull the bucket towards herself, keep it down, and drink water from it. But what do you think, Nazia? She asked. If this girl, if she's seeing the bucket, but she leaves the room, will she be able to drink the water? And honestly, I have been very oracular. I could understand deep meanings behind the lines. So I understood she was talking about me, that I had thirst for learning and I have given all my effort for all the years. And just because of, looking down on myself and a negative thought or putting myself weak, I will not be able to pull the bucket of knowledge that I want towards myself, and I may lose one whole year. So without a second thought, I immediately started giving my efforts for my studies. And I forgot completely about that had just come out of hospital from pneumonia. And honestly, uh, actually, I myself encountered miracle, because that time I scored 89 in Marathi and 74 in maths. I definitely cleared, but this is a kind of a score for me, which was quite shocking. So yeah, that was why I wanted you to all know about this story, is that we always talk about success, but we never talk about failure. Okay, and I want everyone out here to learn from failure. Even when we are a child, okay, what is the first thing we take to school? A pencil and a rubber. Why? Because when we are trying to write A and we cannot write it properly, we don't close the book and go back home crying. We actually take the rubber out, rub it, and try again until we can write a beautiful A until Z, right? And then we form a beautiful handwriting out of constant practice of A to Z. Isn't it? Or do we give
Yeah.
up? So that means school actually teaches us how to face failure right from the time we start school. So if I ask someone, why do we go to school? I have heard a common answer. We go to learn. And I say, we go to school not to learn, but to learn how to learn. I repeat, we go to school not to learn, but to learn how to learn. And for this, of course, the school authorities, the parents also play an important role. So I want every child here to hear one thing out, that here you would be developing the most important skill of your life, that is learning. Because learning doesn't stop after school, it keeps going on until we are alive. And if we are able to develop this skill, we can shine in any aspect of our life. So I want you all to enjoy learning. So I would want you to know a small, tiny example on how I would enjoy learning. Maybe you have your own way of enjoying. So I would ask my younger brother often if I wanted to have a glass of water, I would tell him, you know what, today I learned something new. Refractive index. I will show you how it is. So I would tell him, go to kitchen, get a glass, clean it very well, make sure that it's so clean that the glass shines. Then fill a glass of water and bring it to me. And he would get me the glass of water. I would look at sunlight and I would say him, look here and see now how you will find the refractive index here. And then he would look at the glass, he would look at me, assuming I must be some kind of a scientist, and I would have the glass of water. So it was just fun with my own younger brother. But just to give you an idea that enjoy learning. Whatever you learn something new, how do you learn? When you learn, first time you understand something that has been called taught in school. And the second time you actually learn when you try to explain it to someone else. When you try to share with your friends, oh, I learned something new. It can be anything. It can be a new lesson that you learned. An English lesson, you liked it, you liked the story, you liked the chapter, you shared. This way, you do not need to mug up your studies. You will remember. At the same time, I would also like to add how you can travel from failure to success. It's not very hard. If you failed in something, be very proud. Yes, I mean it. If you failed in something, be very, very proud because you have tried something. Now, if you want to achieve success, okay, you just need to remember you need to repeat your trial. If I have to give you an example, I will give you an example of water. Let's say water. If we want purified water, what do? We boil the water, right? So we know that if we boil the water, all the bacteria, everything will die and we can have fresh water to drink, correct? Now, so what is the best example? Because when you boil water, okay, at 212 degrees Celsius, the water becomes hot. But is hot water pure? No, hot water is not pure. So at 212 degrees Celsius, the water becomes hot. But at 213 degrees Celsius, just 1 degree extra, it boils. And boiled water is pure. So it is that one single extra effort that you give, that you do, gives you success. So if you fail in any aspect of life, first, do not give up. It just means you need to try one more time to achieve success. So do not feel sad. Do not think what people will think, what my friends may think, what neighbors may think, auntie, uncle, parents may think. Don't think that way because no one remembers whether you have passed or you have failed. What people remember is what you are now. So be that child who never gives up, keeps trying. And when you're so open to learning new things, you realize what you are good at. For example, you are a talkative student. Maybe you're a good communicator. For example, if you are, you find computers a lot. You like computers a lot. Maybe you're good in computers. You like logic a lot. Maybe you're good in maths. You like experimenting a lot. Maybe you're good in science. So when you are open-minded, when you're happy to learn, you're able to focus on what is special in you because God always makes you special. Each and everyone is special. Now, how parents and school can help children develop this mindset of learning and this positive mindset of learning is what I feel, with all due respect. Teachers and school authorities who encourage children to think in different direction, who are open to hear their new ideas and let them explore more. That is from school authorities. And I really liked this concept of Rockwood School, who definitely invite speakers from different industries or different specialities and encourage children to listen to gain knowledge. So that is the reason I really found like honored when I was called to speak to all of y'all. And from parents, I want that you need to understand that everything starts from home. When we speak about children's environment, it starts from home because child spends only few hours at school, but the remaining hours the child is with their parents, with their surroundings. So it so happens that, for example, okay, if a child is not very good in studies, what do normal parents do? I'm talking about normal parents, like on a majority. First, they try to encourage. Second, they try to be a bit firm, a bit strict. Third, they do something a bit sad. They start comparing with other students. Fourth, parents have different techniques to deal with their students. Don't try anything after two, the first second. Whatever you tell the child, it will become the mindset of the child. So if you say the child that you cannot do this, he will keep remembering that and he will feel, yes, he cannot do it. No matter how much you care for your child, but you have to tell the child the exact opposite. Even if you see the child is not faring well in studies, you have to tell that you are improving. I can see you're giving effort. The child will believe that and will actually start giving effort. It is the same for every human being, not just a child or a parent, that whatever you say, because you are your biggest critic, whatever you say to your mind, you become, because thoughts become things. So if you say good things to yourself, even if you see whatever is in front of you is not that good, but if you still say it's good, you feel that, okay, I'm so nervous, I think I will give up. So you're saying that to your mind, and your mind will react and give, put some chemicals in your body, you will fall unwell, or you will feel like you're fainting. Because you have told your mind that I don't feel I can make it, I'll give up. But imagine, like if you're telling your mind, although you're very nervous, that you will make it. It's just few minutes. I am sure I will breathe, take some deep breaths, but I know I will make it. It's just a temporary feeling, but I know this is good for my progress. So I will make it. Keep saying that, and it will help. And this is from my personal experience. I have given a lot of interviews at different places. For me, it was a hobby. I would love giving interviews, and I would boast to everyone and say that, I have cleared all the interviews. I have so many offer letters, like medals, saved in my treasure box. And I would say that. And I thought backwards, what would I actually do to clear all the interviews till date? Then I realized that much before the interview, just few minutes before, even I have been equally nervous like anyone around. But what I would do is, I would tell myself that this is easy, I can do it. I'll clear. I'm sure I'm selected. Just 4 lines. This is easy, I can do it. I'm clear. I'm sure I'll get selected. I would say this to myself like maybe 1 or 2 or 3 times maximum, and then enter the interview room. And after that, what would happen was just magic. I would come out smiling, and because I knew I would be selected. So this is what positive mindset does to us. It brings out the best in us. The positive words that you say to yourself, it will bring out the best in you. This is what I feel. And I still remember, I mean, I'll give you one more example here. I had an exam, a geography exam. I had an issue with geography that I would not remember places. Now I fly to places, but yes, as a business entrepreneur. However, with geography, I had an issue that I could not remember places and some keynotes. So I had studied really very well, but during the exam, I just woke up late. So there was just half an hour time for me to reach school. So I remember I started crying, and my father, who actually dotes on me a lot, he asked me what happened. I said, I'm late. So he said, okay, I'll take you in my car for the exam. Do not worry. And he looked at me, and being a father, he understood that I'm nervous. So what he said, I'll drive the car. You do not worry. I will take you on time. But during that duration, whatever you can, just study. So at that moment, I had a choice, either to cry, be nervous that I could not revise in the morning, or at least focus on whatever I can revise. And I remember that I chose the second one, and I just calmed myself down, and I tried to revise. I did not revise the entire subject, of course, but some few questions. And interestingly, I scored full marks in that subject, in that exam for geography. So if I had thought this way, that just because I did not revise, I'm sure I will fail. I'm sure I'll forget everything. If I told that to myself, exactly the same would happen, because that would have been a negative thought which I put towards my mind. But I told to my mind, see, even if I don't remember anything, no problem. At least whatever I can, I will try to leave, and I will give that as my best answer in exams. But apparently, my mind helped me to remember everything, and that's how I scored full marks in it. So I hope I could actually give you some knowledge on positive thinking. And what I feel is I would like to leave that as a message to all the students as well as the parents, that every child is unique in its own way. Okay. And they are exploring, because child is always innovative. They want to know anything and everything. They want to learn anything and everything. That's the reason when the child starts crawling, or when the child is making movements, it tries to touch anything around it, because it wants to know what this shape is. Why is this color different to something else? So children always want to open up and learn something new. And that's the reason, right in time, we send them to school so that they can learn how to learn. So do not make them mug up their studies. They would mug up if we would say you need to get full marks. They should excel in studies, but they should excel because they have learned it, not because they have mucked up their studies. So help them improve, see their interests, and where they are interested, let them give more time to that part of their interest, and that way they would also give time to other part of studies. But do not confuse or block their brain with any negative word from you, because as parent, whatever you say, the child would believe that is what they are. So if you want the child to believe whatever you say is true, say them everything good, everything positive, and see them actually rising and shining wherever they are. So if anyone has any question that they feel that I can be of some guidance, please do ask.
Health ma'am, you are on mute.
Wonderful, Miss Nazia. I think it has been a very encouraging talk by you. So, dear parents and students, the power of I can is what Miss Nazia has shown all of us through her own life examples, and also the power of positivity. Encourage your child. Say good things about your child. You will find that they will actually emulate being the same. And the third takeaway is, of course, as you know, we, of course, in Rockwoods work on teaching our children to learn how to learn. We go one step ahead, and we also teach learning how to relate what they learn to real life situations. So these are two important takeaways. With this, dear parents and students, I would like you all to ask our wonderful, beautiful resource person. I think the entire positivity which she has with her is reflected on her face. So we see a lot of positivity in the young lady. Young, because she has not grown after 16. Yes. So over to Subramaniam sir to take on the question answer session and to moderate for that. Over to you, sir.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you very much. Naidu sir, would you like to quickly talk about
Yeah,
it?
Subhi, while parents are typing their questions, I would like to share one story. Then we'll go for question answer.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Before that,
I request parents, you can type in questions in
Yeah.
chat box or in your Facebook. Yeah, Subhi, carry on.
Yeah, so I request any of the parent or the student, if you would like to ask any of the questions to our lead speakers, kindly go ahead and put it in our chat window. If you're watching through the Facebook, you can put your question in the comment section, please. So meantime, Naidu sir, please go ahead and put forward the story in front of us.
Thank you, Miss Nazia. So great insights about positivity and also positive mindset. So while listening to your message, I just would like to share about a story to all our students and parents on how we can really experience positivity in our day-to-day life by thinking of positive affirmations every day, right? So before going for positive affirmations, what we really can teach our students or children to practice, I would like to share a story about how Everest mountaineer will really feel about his journey rather than the time he is at peak Mount Everest. Many of us might have seen interviews or talks of the people who reach Mount Everest, the highest mountain in the world, right? The amount of time they spend at the peak position is very less. Maybe they spend around an hour or couple of minutes and just they experience the happiness for a moment. But they speak about the journey they took, the amount of effort they kept in attending this training, or how they really felt at the base camp, one or two, or every step they talk about it. So I encourage all the parents and teachers ourselves to really inspire and motivate our students on the journey rather than achieving or accomplishing or failing the goal. Once we set a goal to our students or our children, let us not stress too much on the goal, rather let us focus more on the process of accomplishing the goal rather than whether the child accomplished or didn't accomplish, it doesn't matter. In this process of achieving or attaining our goal, we learn many things. We teach many things our children. Along with children, we also will learn many new topics. To quote a good example of yesterday's fancy dress competition, I really overwhelmed and thrilled, delighted by looking at all the Rockwood students and ranker students fancy dress presentation and competition performance. Obviously, the judges have their own limitations and the teachers have their own limitations. They cannot give first prize or second prize to all the students. They might have mistaken few places. I request and encourage all the parents, do not really worry about end result. Let us not teach our students how the child should celebrate success or feel sorrowful about failure. Encourage our students how the child had taken care enough steps, waking up early, getting ready, taking bath, wearing the dress, trying to stand in front of camera, speaking, uttering few words, either with the help of parent or himself. So this process is more important than just a simple certificate of display, either in the form of physical form or PPT. So I love to see our children and parents shift, paradigm shift from accomplishing, achieving success and feeling proud to working on the process of doing it, learning it. Let us love this process rather than love the end result. This would help us to imbibe, digest positivity in our work, and also teach our children how really we should accept even some fail happens or even we don't accomplish it. So that maybe many of you may think my anger, my agitation, my child did not really observe. You take it granted. Your child is smarter than you and me. They can observe your facial feelings, even little wrinkles on your forehead. They can see that there is some kind of agitation in your mind. As shared by our speaker, the lemon example. Similarly, if some negative thought comes to you into negative chatterbox, that negative chatterbox unknowingly, without your control, you may express any form, so that we are trying to influence our children with negative thoughts. Let us not allow these kind of thoughts towards our children. That would help us as a parents, as teachers, how best we can inculcate habits of positivity among the children, among ourselves, so that journey is more important rather than the goal. But setting the goal is very much important. Let us not obsess too much about goal. Let us obsess about process. What exactly I can contribute after this event? What exactly I can do it after this event? That is more important. So today onwards, let us teach our children and parents every day. I can do it. This, I am learning student. I can learn anything today. I am a person can seek help from anyone to enhance my quality of life, my quality of learning, quality of being peaceful and happy. These three things let us start practicing as soon as we wake up or while going to the bed. These three statements, those look very simple. You practice for 21 days along with your children, you would see great change in your mind. The chemicals which produce you would help you to become more positive and balanced. That would give you great strength to you. With this, I conclude my message. Let's be take on the question and answer. Thank you all. Thank you, Najia.
Sure. Thank you very much. I think there are, few questions. Before, bringing up those questions, there are plenty of participants who are, extremely, happy to listen to you, Nazia.
Yes.
They are conveying those messages, and they are very thankful for giving, a lot of good advices on positivity and all that.
Thank you.
And the first question is, ma'am, we are extremely happy to listen to you. The question about positivity, but through different angle of person being inconsistently positive. Inconsistently positivity may be negative as such. How to be consistently positive and control negative mind to be under our positive mind? I have been struggling with this. Please suggest something to be positive always amid full of negative world. There is second part of question I will ask after answering this, because this is really big question.
Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, may I know the name of the person who questioned this?
The parent, the child name is Kan, and that child parent is asking this question. I know
So-
pretty good about children names.
Okay. Well, first I want to tell them that what you did right now, that's called positive attitude. Because if you had this question in your mind and you had not asked, that would have been a negative attitude. And if you want to ask, and your question that is, you have inconsistency in having a positive mindset, okay, and you feel that that itself can be the reason for a negative mindset. So, my friend, no. Inconsistency in having a positive mindset is a step one towards having a positive mindset. So it can never be a reason for a negative mindset. All right. So if you want to have consistency, keep trying. Like how I said, now the water is hot. You just need to reach the boiling point. One more effort, like always, right? So before you put this quality in your child, you need to put this quality in you yourself. So no matter how funny it may sound, when you wake up in the morning, develop a habit of just looking into the mirror and convincing that person in the mirror that is you. Say it's an awesome day. I'm sure today I'm going to learn something new and everything will be super good. Even if that morning is the most terrible morning of your life, say that. And maybe day one, nothing may happen. Day two, nothing may happen. Day three, day four, day five, and day six, you will realize one, saying this has become so natural to you because somewhere your mind has started believing it. And then you will also notice that your days are not like earlier. It has changed because you have been talking to your mind in the most positive way. So even in the worst of situation, say good to yourself. Say the exact opposite. If you feel that I cannot do this, don't say I cannot do this to your mind. Shut the mind there and then say to your mind, fool it. Oh, I can do this. I just have to try one more time. And you can do it. So I hope that's helpful.
Great, wonderful. And second part of the question is, this is to Naidu sir and Lalita ma'am also, right? Please, if possible, our dear Rama Naidu sir and Lalita ma'am, please share your thoughts. The reason he is asking to both of you is, see, these lectures which we have on, webinar series on every Sunday, they do inspire us for some days. Then I become inconsistent. I try daily to be inspired and positive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Could I answer?
Yes, sir. Please
Yes.
go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So again, the same word. Let us not influence by the events which happen in our life. Maybe because of events, we don't stay focused what we really got inspiration a couple of weeks back because of someone's talk or someone's message. We always distract with other events, other series of actions which happen over a period of time. Then we shift our focus towards something else. When we are really staying focused on the process of our journey, then these distractions, because we all live in a place where we see carnival of distractions in our life.
Yes.
Every minute we'll get some WhatsApp alert. Every an hour someone will say some fake story. Someone would share some bad crime, some incident in the news. Because of that, we always wander our mind to different oscillations because our life is like a sine curve. This sine curve always makes us confused, but let us be consistent in this sine curve. We may go up for a couple of days, we may go down for a couple of days, but learn how to come up again. Sine curve is like a tide in ocean. Tide had been performing consistently, going up or going down, never be down, never be up. So my suggestion to the parents, whoever asked this question, is about how to learn coming back where you need to move, how the process of learning has to be. So all of us should learn to be a lifelong learners. Our 20 to 25 years of education is not sufficient to live up to 100 years. As a parent, you can learn every day. As a student, they can learn every day. Parent and students can learn together to stay focused on the message we heard from our speakers or other learners. Did I answer your question?
Yes. I think
Okay,
pretty in detail.
thank you.
Yes, the second question that we have, how to improve positive thinking in among children, because we are trying to say anything to them, they are not understanding. How can we train them? Over to Nazia Rashid, please.
Yeah. Uh, I actually somehow read the question in the chats. I was just scrolling through the parents' curiosity and enjoying
Yes.
uh, what's going on. First, what I would say is if you want your child to listen to you, okay, the first basic thing that you need to do is you need to develop a beautiful bond with your child and make your child feel that you listen to them so that they learn this act from you of listening. So because what happens is a child wants to know that has to share a lot of things with us. Okay, now I have a 6-year-old, so I realized this that a 6-year-old princess, okay, her name is Laiba. Now she often talks to me about anything and everything. So how I deal with that, what do I do is I leave everything aside when she wants to talk to me and I look at her, okay, say with a lot of interest, and that makes her feel that she is saying something very unique, and it doesn't let her deviate from the fact that should I say this or should I not say this. So it helps her to openly communicate any thought to me. Secondly, she like when she sees I'm setting up my house, so she says, Mama, can we keep this here, keep it there, and I would react as if it is a valuable advice. Okay, and if something it is quite funny or quite weird, then I would not make her feel low about what she said. I would rather say, huh, this is good, but I think you can think of more better ideas. So I did not say what you said is actually foolish. What did I say is this is good, but you can think of more better ideas. So the child feels very good when she's being listened to, right? So the same thing when you apply on your own child, you need to develop this bond. There is no shortcut. So when you listen to your child, you spend more time with your child. The child feels very comfortable to talk to you. And then when the child likes you for being such a good friend to her or him, then they would like to listen to you for everything because they would not want to let you down or make you feel bad, because children do not like to upset their friends. So parents have to be the best friends. So that's how, even if your child has any habit, to bring the child out of a habit which is not acceptable to you, if the child is very restless or irritated or stubborn, there are beautiful ways on how you can bring them out. But for the first step is being that person that you want your child to be to your child. I hope that helps.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay.
And there is one more interesting question. Um, when we keep encouraging our children, don't you think the child will begin to feel very great and stop trying to excel?
Uh, it's a very nice question. Thank you so much. First part, my dear friend, whoever this parent is, uh, the first part of your question is good. That if we keep encouraging the children, don't you think the child would feel that it's great? That part shows your thinking. You're thinking that anything good that you're doing to your child may come up with a negative result, will actually come up with a negative result. If you think whatever good you do to your child will bring a positive result, it will bring a positive result. Because see, when I say that say positive things to your child, it doesn't mean, for example, if you say your child, like your child has scored very low, okay, and you say fantastic, you scored very nice marks. I never mean that. When your child has scored low marks, okay, it's just that what you need to do is you need to say your child, okay, see, I understand, well, you're not feeling good about the marks that you have scored. However, I can see that you gave your best, you tried. Okay, that means if you try a little more, you will score even more in your next exams. So I am very confident about you that I know you will give your effort, you will try more. So I'm sure the next morning the child is not going to try more, but the next minute when you see your child with the book for which he's trying, go and appreciate and say, see, I know you're a responsible child, I know if you need any help, I'm there, and I know you will excel, I know you will give good in your exams, and I am there with you whatsoever because I know you're trying. So the child doesn't feel a pressure that parent may feel very bad if I don't get full marks, but the child knows the parent is there with them regardless, and the parent can feel the efforts the child is putting in, and then it becomes your duty to understand how you can help the child, maybe with a tutor, maybe talking to the class principal or teacher to help the child out in the best possible way. So yes, do not, I mean, do the positive words. I mean, talk to your child positively, but do not lie to the child. There's a difference between both. So positive words is you is refraining from saying, "Look at that cousin of yours. Look at your classmate." No,
Comparison.
yeah, the child doesn't need to look at anyone else because child is special in its own way. Rather say, "I know you will improve. My child is smart enough. Okay, I understand that this time you didn't score well. Okay, I understand that you didn't do your homework and that's why teacher was upset with you. I understand, so no problem. Next time we will make some more time, we will play for few hours, and we will work, we will do our homework for half an hour. This way your teacher won't be upset with you because you have done your part of studies. So enjoy that process with your child. Okay, and most importantly, develop positive thinking yourself. To that will help you to see positive results around your life, even if you're in your child and your personal life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And there are a couple of more questions. And
Yes, ma'am.
the next question that we have is, how do we distract our children from social media?
It's a very good question. Actually, that shows how much we have spoiled them with social media.
Yes.
So I will tell you by by my own experience. This is not to boast about me, but if I believe that, you know, if I have done something which has given me a positive result, I openly like to share it to the whole world because you never know how it will help someone else. Okay, so I used to see a lot of parents, you know, when they would want to feed their child, they would give mobile in their hand with a cartoon on so that the child can keep the mouth open and they can keep feeding in. Or I would also see that if the child is running around the house, they would put the TV on with some cartoon characters or some songs so that the child will not run around here and there but stand in front of the TV and you have child at one place to feed the child food. This is the first point where we start making the child accustomed social media. Or else when a child is crying for any reason, we give them a mobile or we try to distract them with this. This is the main reason the child is more connected to social media, electronic devices and all. But that's the easy way parents try to have their way out, but it has a repercussion, the same repercussion that you're facing right now. Okay, so in my case, I mean, when I used to see that, I never felt that that's the right way. So I thought, what would be the right way rather? Okay, so that's when, because I feel, do not look towards the problem. You know what the problem is, right? Looking towards it will never help. You know what it is. Look towards what are the best solutions that you can bring in so you can eliminate the problem. So that's when my child grew. She's only 6, so I'm not that big old parent as well. But I knew that I would not be doing this, so I needed to do something else. So what I would do is when we were having food, I would first decorate my plate and my husband's plate, and we would keep it in front of her. And we would not keep TV or any electronic devices close to us. What we would do is we would only have a small, nice chat and start eating food. I mean, I never ran. I don't remember running after my child for food or, my child giving me a hard time for food. The reason beyond is I would eat food myself first. When she would see, she would realize that if she wants food, she needs to come and ask us, or she needs to at least be there in the queue when we go to the kitchen to have food. So that's the reason, by God's grace, till date, she's not, attached to technology, or she's not used to this mobile phone, because I never had to convince her to eat. Every human being feels hungry. So the child, I knew, and she knew one more thing. What, that I trained her, because we need to train our child. Our children will exactly be the way we train them, because they're just like clay. We are molding them. So I would say that if she needed something, okay, for example, I would take her to a shop, and my child would, like any other children, she would show me that stuff she wanted. And first I would say, never touch the stuffs. If you want something, show me. And whenever she would call me, maybe 100 times in the showroom, all those 100 times I would leave things aside and look at that thing. And then I would give her a comment that, find me something better. This is fine, but I want something better. Then she would leave that thing as beyond and she would go ahead. But she would never touch them. Second thing, what I taught her is, if you cry, crib, or if you give a negative reaction for what you asked for and I did not give, certainly you will not get it. But if you want something, you need to convince your parents that why you want it in a beautiful way. Maybe I may consider giving you. I mean, I'm talking about this thoughts I instilled in my 2, 3 year old child. It was not hard. It was definitely not, because I have exercised this. I'm not saying reading it from a book. I'm saying a value that I exercise, and it helped me. And my child, uh, just 1 second. My child needs attention. 1 second.
Yes.
This is exactly what I mean. I'm sorry for the break. That when your child tries to grab your attention, leave everything in the world, show them they are important, so that when they grow up, they show you you are important. So I was saying that I instilled these thought process in the child, so that when she grows, she has the right values. So I learned this from my own father, who would tell me, like, if you want something, if you're stubborn and if you ask me in the wrong way, I will not give. But if you ask me the right way, I may consider giving. It's not that I will give, I may. And when you say I may consider giving you, out of that 10 times, make it a habit to give at least 5 or 6 times. Do not make the child not believe what you have just said. So I wanted to talk about the root cause of the problem. That's why I discussed this. Now I will talk about the solution. It's not the end of the world if your child has grown up and you haven't instilled that values. They are still your child. You can still instill that values. Do not go too strong when instilling those values. Okay. From the examples that I gave, rather I would say that, first, again, develop the bond with your child. Okay. Work on one aspect that you want to improve in the child. But the child is learning by example. Make sure you don't have that aspect in you. Like, for example, we have wives who would crib to their husband and say, I want this, I want this. But anyhow, the child is watching you. Or it's vice versa. I just give you a lame example. But yes, the child watches you and does exactly what you do, because children admire their parents. And that's why they copy. So if you want to drive the children out of social media, number one, develop a good bond. Second, spare more time for them. Spend more time for them in whatever they do. Because they're not getting attention from somewhere else, they're getting bored, and that's why they drive towards social media. So enjoy, for example, if you get good books. Books are always good. So get good books, read that book with your child, enjoy the process, share with each other what you learned. It may be one page, no big deal, but you're spending some time with your child. So the child will not have time for a social media or a video game or something. But because your child has already developed this habit, what you need to do is, you need to give the child the time to draw away from this new habit of being so attached to social media. So you need to tell the child that, all right, you like to be on social media, or you like to play a game or video game. Fair enough. Instead of 2, 3 hours, which can hurt your eyes and you're precious for me, play for half an hour. And make sure that you give them half an hour, but in 35 minutes you ask them to stop, and they will. But if you suddenly go and say, from today I'm going to instill positive attitude in you, no TV, no video, they won't listen. It's not going to happen. So you need to be their way. I hope this helps.
Very nicely said. Very nicely said. And there is one question from one of the child. So if someone has scolded me or us, how should we take it in a positive way? This is from a child.
Can I ask you to please repeat that question?
Yeah. Someone, if someone is scolding us, how
Mhm.
should we take it in a positive way?
A very good question. May I know the child's name?
Child's name is Akila. She's
Yeah.
in grade 10.
Hi, Akila. That's such a wise thought. The fact that you're thinking shows me that you are a good thinker. You think about any aspect. And the fact that you so openly shared shows that you are bold enough to express your views. You don't feel shy, which is very, very good and quite commendable. Okay. So, yes, I will help you with handling criticism. It's called criticism. Okay. Whenever someone criticizes you, scolds you, okay, or shouts at you or says something bad to you, first you need to think, stop yourself. Don't let it affect you right in the first go. First think, is this actually something I am about? If the answer is no, then tell yourself this is not going to affect me. This is just talking about the person who is telling me. Okay. But then think, is this about me? For example, a teacher calls you and says that I can see that you're not paying attention nowadays. All right. So that is certainly about you. So what you need to do is, what I can do to make sure that teacher doesn't have to repeat what she has just said. So that's like a constructive criticism that you need to work on. So work on things, or maybe if you're not able to find any solution, ask the teacher or your parent themselves what I can do to improve. Because if there is something wrong in any part of your behavior, it's just the part of your behavior, not you in total, right? So if it's just a part of our behavior, it's simple. We need to change that part of our behavior in the best way. And we need to ask from those who have criticized us. I hope that helps, Akila.
Very much, ma'am. Very much. And one more question, ma'am.
Yes.
This is from one of the parents.
Mhm.
How can we encourage a child for their achievements?
All right. Encouragement starts from every small thing you do. For example, if the child is giving you a glass of water, have you ever said thank you? Have you actually kept a hand on their head and said, so sweet of you? My child is so caring. Have you ever said that? If this is surprising, do it, because it's still not late. So encouragement starts from every small tiny things. The child, everyone in this world, they have this deepest desire to be appreciated. I mean, why do we go and we talk about our accomplishments? Why do we post our pictures? Why do we do anything, and why we want anyone else to know? Because deep down we desire to be appreciated. And the child will definitely have 100 times more desire than an adult. So if you want your child to be encouraged, okay, or so that they can achieve different aspects of their life, encourage them, and for all the small tiny things which even they don't think is something big, but it is definitely. Because if you see the world around, you will not have many children who are actually very dutiful to their parents, who are who may come and say that say some good things to their parents, but you need to give that appreciation back. If they're doing, for example, if they're drawing, okay, you can say it's beautiful, you need to keep trying, you can be more better. I can see your previous three drawings, the fourth one is the best, and I'm sure the fifth one would be the best one than the previous one. So encourage them in that areas. Don't encourage them in the area that you want them to move forward. encourage them in the area in which they excel and they want to move forward. It may happen that you want them to uh, choose focusing more on science. Maybe they are more excellent in maths, so encourage them where they are excellent. And when you encourage them when they are what they are good at, simultaneously you can definitely tell them, I'm sure you will be doing good in other subjects too. Example. So because you're encouraging them for something which they find logic, they know, yes, I'm good at this. So they will believe what they are not good at, and you're encouraging them to improve on. They will believe that this is also true, because children, they can catch you when you say, they catch you in every word you say. Otherwise they would say, you are saying that I'm good in science, but I know I'm good at maths. That means you're not being fair, you're not being true. So that's the reason, encourage them for the right things, encourage them for the tiny good things they do, even if they are helping a friend with completing notes. Tell them very good. Tell them, even when I was a child, I would help my friends. Helping and serving others is also one of the biggest attribute a person has. And yes, more than encouragement, do not discourage them. Do not discourage them, and do not, never ever, I mean it, never ever talk about anything negative to them, even personally, and especially try and avoid comparing them or humiliating them in front of all. Even if, for example, it's a usual scenario where two children are fighting and the other parents come and say your child was very rude, or fought with my child. Okay, it doesn't mean that immediately you look at your child and you shout. You first hear the parents out. Okay, maybe you can apologize those parents if you felt the child was not right. Then take the child gently in, ask the child very gently what had happened. You will see that the child now wants to express. But if you actually shout at the child in front of all, or actually you bring in the child inside just to beat them up, they will not express. So let them express. See, when they are expressing, and when you listen calmly, and then when you advise that, see, what you did, this one is not good. Would you like someone doing this? And they would answer no. And your job is done. But if you do the exact opposite, if you humiliate them in public, or if you bring them in, they will just behave good in front of you, but you haven't changed them as a person. They don't see right and wrong. They just don't want to do anything wrong in front of you, but they will do it behind you. Right. Any more
Very nicely
questions?
said, ma'am. One
Yeah.
last question, Lalita ma'am. I'll end with this question.
Yes.
What is the difference between fear of failure and being confident and positive? Fear of failure, confident and positive. What is the difference? Some people say that fear of failure should be there in child's mind. Then only child performs well. What is your comment on this?
Okay. I don't think fear of failure should be there in a child's mind. It's absolutely a wrong thought. The excitement of success should be there. When we are having emotions like fear, nervousness, we tend to lose our best qualities, because we tend to look down on ourselves, right? So if you want to instill a good mindset in a child, do not put any fear of failure in them, that if you don't study you will fail. That's wrong. Say the same thing in the right way. If you would study, you would excel. If you would study, you would be with your same friends in the next class. If you would study, mummy and daddy would be proud of you. If you would study, you will be a good individual. If you would study, you will achieve your dream. You want to be a pilot. Example, the child, what your child's dream is. So associate that act with their dreams. You want to be that. I know you will be one day. You just need to study a little harder. And make study an enjoyable experience. Don't make study a punishment. Do not say that you for 4 hours you have to study, don't come out of the room, no one will talk to you, no food. This is wrong. Don't do that. Rather tell the child, give the child breaks. Okay, study for few hours. Fine, study for half an hour. And when the child is finished studying, appreciate. Don't forget the A word. That's the most important one. Appreciate the child for what he has done so that he or she can improve. And the difference between failure and success is one more try. That one more try will definitely give you success. Like I said, that if teacher had not told you to come to school for the first time with a pencil and a rubber, you would never know how to write A, B, C, D. Because you had a rubber, you knew that even if you fail to write it properly, one day by instant trial, you will still write. And I would want to also tell uh, one beautiful story I had come across of determination and perseverance. Okay, so this is a beautiful story I came across that there was this mother in a village. Okay, she suddenly after she finished her work, she realized her child is missing. So she went to all the villages and asked that, is your child, did you see my child? So they said no. And she kept asking everyone, okay, did you see where my child went? So it was almost evening. And then few villagers did mention that I saw the child going in that direction. So she just said, all right. And then she left for that direction. Now, looking at that lady, the villagers knew that she is trying to find her missing child. They followed her because they felt that, this lady is not waiting for anyone. She's determined to go and get her child. So they followed her and they tried to help her. Now, it became very dark in the night. Okay. And because the road was very rocky and it was not very safe, that there was a danger of wild animals and all, the villagers said, let's wait until next morning and then we can try and search the child again. And everyone left. And the next morning, the villagers got up and they thought that they should immediately start looking for the child. But they realized they can't see this woman, this mother. So they tried to search for this mother and they realized that from far this mother is coming. And they said, oh, I can see that woman coming. No, but she has someone with her. And when they saw her coming more closer, they realized the woman is returning back with her child. So she had actually found her child because she was searching the child even in the night. So they asked her that, they all applauded that she finally found her child. But they asked her, were you not afraid that when it was dark, it was a rocky road, and there could have been thefts, robbers, or wild animals? She said, it didn't matter because it was my child. And for my child, I will be the one who will take the best efforts. Now, how I correlate this story is when you have some dream in your life that you want to become, okay? And if you have a dream that your child should be a very good individual, okay? Be it your dream or your child's dream, when you do not give up regardless of any circumstance, you do your part 100%, you will definitely achieve success. Because if you see, whenever there is an Olympic race, the difference between the person who came first and the person who came second is fraction of seconds. Also, if you see, the people who have been successful have failed multiple times but never given up, and that's why they're successful. If you have a fighter like Muhammad Ali, if you ask him, he has, if you see, he's the most successful person. He has his name on wall of fame, isn't it? But did he win in his first match? No, he failed a lot of matches, but he kept trying. He knew clearly that he wants to be the greatest boxer ever. And he was so determined that no matter how many times he failed, but he practiced and practiced until he became the greatest boxer. So it's up to us. So failure means one more effort is pending to succeed. So redefine the definition of failure in your life so that you can achieve a lot of things in your life. One more try.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I think
Welcome.
that would be all from Q&A. Thank you very much for patiently answering all the questions. I think there were plenty of others coming in, but we'll take those offline, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you. That would be all from Q&A. Over to you, Lalita, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes. So, dear parents and students, I'm sure, this session by Miss Nazia has been very enriching for all of us. In fact, there is a lot we learn from these sessions. Every Sunday, dear parents and students, please remember that we curate these wonderful webinars for you. We get speakers from all over the world for you to learn and enable you to enable all of us, not only you, all of us to be better people. And today's session has been so wonderful. Both the speakers, our chairman, as well as Ms. Nazia, have given such wonderful insights. And dear parents, do not forget that your children need your eye contact. And that is wonderfully, and the way in which she has just stopped the webinar for 1 second, looked at her child, answered what she wanted. That was beautifully done, Nazia ma'am, and I really appreciate that. And well, positive thinking, we all know, evokes more energy, more initiative, and more happiness. So let us all work on positivity from today, and let us make this a habit so that we do not go back into our old ways. Thank you very much, Nazia ma'am, Chairman sir, and Subramaniam sir, and all the parents, teachers, and dear students. Your presence has been wonderful for all of us. Have a wonderful Sunday evening, and we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow morning.
Can I
Thank
add
you
one
all.
thing, please, for everyone?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
yes.
Definitely.
I want you all to know that how we learn is by teaching others, because first time we learn only to understand. Second time when we learn is when we teach others, we learn twice, and that's how it becomes a nature. If today's session has helped anyone in any single way, then I would say teach others. Whatever you learned, whatever you liked about today's session, I would rather say that teach it to others so that you will remember that for a lifetime. And that would be my achievement. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That would be all. We are concluding the webinar for today. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Nice.